When she ended things, she smiled in that effortless way she always did when she wanted to soften a blow. "We'll always be friends," she said, like she was offering me a consolation prize instead of dismantling 3 years of my life. I looked at her across that tiny cafe table, steam rising between us from untouched coffee cups, and replied calmly, "Absolutely." She took my response as peace, maybe even maturity. But inside, something shifted. Not anger, not heartbreak, clarity. I realized that the woman sitting across from me wasn't the same one who used to laugh at my awful cooking or fall asleep on my shoulder during late-night movies. Somewhere along the way, she'd become someone who could rehearse her goodbye like it was a line in a play. Her name was Claire. We'd met in college. She was the kind of girl people noticed without her trying. Bright eyes, sharp wit, and a smile that carried confidence like it was perfume. For a long time, she made me believe I was lucky to be chosen by her. And maybe I was, until the day she decided I wasn't enough. She said things had run their course, that she needed to find herself. The usual phrases people use when they've already found someone else. But I didn't ask. I didn't beg. I just said, "Absolutely." That word became a wall. Behind it, I started rebuilding silently. I deleted her number, muted her social media, and stopped checking the places she liked to post. Instead, I poured my energy into work, into fitness, into silence. Every time her name crossed my mind, I reminded myself that someday, we'd meet again. And when that day came, she wouldn't recognize the man in front of her. 3 weeks passed, then 5. I heard from mutual friends that she was seeing someone. A guy named Ryan, marketing job, tall, gym guy, the usual cliché. Stung, sure. But the sting turned into focus. I wasn't going to win her back. I was going to win myself back. I started running before sunrise, joined a business networking group I'd ignored for months, and accepted a promotion at work that I once thought I wasn't ready for. The more I grew, the more distance I put between who I had been and who I was becoming. Then life did what it always does, it circled back. 6 weeks after our breakup, I walked into a friend's engagement party. Music, chatter, and laughter filled the room, and I was fine, until I turned and saw her, Claire, standing by the bar, drink in hand, wearing that same self-assured smile she'd worn the day she said goodbye. Her eyes widened for a split second before she caught herself. I could see the calculations behind her gaze, the assessment of my posture, my clothes, the ease in my expression. I didn't flinch. I smiled, nodded politely, and turned back to the group I was talking to. A few minutes later, she approached. "James?" she said, that familiar tone laced with curiosity and nostalgia. I turned, calm as ever. "Claire." "Hey, you look good," she said, drawing out the words like she couldn't quite believe them. "Thanks," I replied. "You too." There was an awkward pause, the kind where all the unsaid things float between two people like invisible smoke. "So, how have you been?" she asked finally. "Honestly, great," I said, and I meant it. We talked for a minute or two, small talk, surface-level chatter. She laughed at something I said, the way she used to, but there was a flicker in her eyes, a recognition that I wasn't hers anymore, that whatever power she'd once had over me was gone. As the night went on, she lingered nearby, watching, listening, trying to read me. She didn't realize that the version of me she'd left behind no longer existed. The man standing there wasn't seeking closure or revenge. He was waiting for the right moment. Because the plan, the quiet, patient plan that began with that one word, absolutely, was finally unfolding. I didn't plan the second encounter. It happened naturally. A week after that engagement party, a mutual friend invited me to a charity dinner downtown. I almost skipped it, but something told me to go. When I arrived, the atmosphere was elegant. Dim lighting, laughter, the faint hum of a jazz band. I took a seat near the back, comfortable, detached. Then I heard her laugh. That same laugh I used to love, now a sound that barely touched me. Claire was across the room, hand on Ryan's arm, introducing him to people I knew well. She caught my eye for half a second and smiled, hesitant this time. like she wasn't sure if she still had the right to. I nodded politely and turned away. Throughout the evening, I noticed her glance in my direction more than once. Every time someone complimented me, every time people asked about the new business I'd launched, I saw her expression shift. A flicker of something, regret, confusion, maybe both. See, after the breakup, I didn't just rebuild emotionally. I invested. I'd taken an idea I'd been sitting on for years and turned it into a consulting startup. It grew faster than I'd imagined. I walked into that dinner not as the man who'd been left behind, but as the man who outgrew the version she thought she outsmarted. Halfway through the event, Ryan stepped away to take a call. That's when she approached me again. "James," she said softly, "can we talk for a minute?" I looked around, pretending to consider it. "Sure," I said. For a minute, we stepped outside to the balcony. The city lights spread beneath us like constellations. She leaned on the railing, hesitant. "I just wanted to say I'm really happy for you," she began. "You seem different, happier." "I am," I said simply. She nodded, biting her lip. "I guess I didn't realize how much you were capable of. You've changed so much." "That's what endings do," I said. "They make room for better beginnings." She looked at me then, really looked, and for the first time her confidence cracked. "Do you ever miss us?" she asked quietly. I met her gaze without blinking. "I miss who I thought you were," I said. The silence that followed was heavier than any argument we'd ever had. She exhaled, looked away, and whispered, "I didn't mean to hurt you, James." "I know," I replied. "You just meant to move on before I had the chance." She flinched slightly, her eyes glistening in the low light. "You really don't hate me?" I smiled, the same calm smile I'd given her the day she ended it. "Absolutely not." It hit her then. The word. The memory of that coffee shop, that same expression of quiet finality. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. "Take care of yourself, Claire," I said, stepping past her. When I walked back inside, Ryan was returning from his call. He glanced at her on the balcony, confusion crossing his face. People around noticed too, her standing there motionless, eyes fixed on nothing. Later that night, I learned from a friend that Claire and Ryan had argued on the drive home. Something about her not being present, about how distracted she seemed. I didn't care. It wasn't revenge I'd felt, it was peace. Weeks passed again. My company signed its biggest contract yet. I traveled more, met new people, lived lighter. One afternoon, as I was leaving a client meeting, I saw an email come through. Subject line, "Hey, long time." It was from her. I didn't open it. I stared at it for a moment, then archived it. Because some messages aren't meant to be read. They're meant to remind you how far you've come. When she ended things, she said, "We'll always be friends." And maybe, in her world, that meant keeping me in her orbit, just close enough to feed her ego. But in mine, it meant something else entirely. It meant absolutely moving on. It meant absolutely rebuilding without her shadow. And when our paths crossed again, it meant standing there as proof that the best closure isn't an explanation. It's indifference. She thought those words ended our story. She didn't know they were the beginning of mine.